Welcome back to the Dialing for Dollars podcast, where we talk about life insurance, sales, and everything that happens between the first dial and the death benefit. I'm Corey Mitchell. Each week, I sit down with fellow agents, top performers, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders to unpack what actually works to help new agents win faster. Today, we're joined by Thal Martin. Thal is a retirement planning specialist with Empower Life Group. I've been doing some joint work with Thal, and I've learned so much. I wanted to have him on the show. So, Thal, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, Corey.
Yeah. So tell us about a little bit about your background and how you ended up here, and we'll start there.
I think it goes back to a good friend of mine. He was in the investment business. He was a securities broker. And at one point in time, this is when I was doing real estate, he knew I had something. He knew I had a certain something when it came to my ability to interact with people, my ability to just really be a people person and be able to articulate certain things, relatively well. And he asked me, what kind of money are you making in real estate? And when I told him about it, I was visiting his home in North Carolina. He pulled out his tax return and he showed me his tax returns. And he asked me if I ever thought about selling insurance. And I said, well, I'm definitely going to consider it after looking at these tax returns. And he told me what he did, how he did it. He migrated from securities and he started selling safe products, annuities, long-term care, and some insurance. And he took me up under his wing. He mentored me. I got my insurance producer's license, and the rest is history. We worked together up until he died. I was probably working with him for about 3 years initially. And after that point in time, around the 4th year, I started developing and building my own book of business, still up under his tutelage or his mentorship to some degree. Okay. When he died, I took over the existing book of business, and I am where I am today.
So did you start out selling annuities, or did you start out selling life insurance and then made your way into annuities?
I started out selling annuities.
Wow. I wonder, is that kind of unusual? I'm sure with the securities background, I have a securities license as well. And I definitely can sleep better at night knowing that my client's money is safe with an annuity than if they buy a mutual fund I recommend and they lose money. That's on me. So it takes a certain special kind of someone to do that. And I don't think I was it. So you saw was he doing securities and annuities at that time, or was he doing just annuities when he kind of recruited you?
At that point in time, he was just selling annuities. Prior to that, he had been in the security space. And essentially, he got tired of people calling him in the middle of the night because it was around the dot-com bubble that burst back in 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And it was just too much. People were always worried about what they were losing. And his philosophy was if he had one client that came to the conclusion that he was the reason why they lost money, once they began to circulate that information to other individuals, he would lose trust when it really wasn't him. It was just the results of the stock market. Yeah. So he wanted to get out of that space because he didn't want to be held responsible, even if it was just in theory in someone's mind, that he was the reason for their loss of assets. And he started redirecting his focus into the safe space, which was the indexed annuity. So I would say I probably came into this business. I apologize.
No worries.
I came into this business probably backwards.
Okay. Yeah. Most people I know get into the life insurance side first and then switch to annuities when they see the opportunity is there. But I think a lot of people have some misconceptions. Customers have misconceptions, agents have misconceptions. What are people misinterpreting or misunderstanding about what an annuity is and can do for them and their customers?
Well, most people don't really know what an annuity is. Uh, they see these commercials on TV. Um, I have a structured settlement and I need cash now. I
We're
doubt
doing
if I'll ever
karaoke.
make it at the Metropolitan Opera, but
Oh,
but they think it's something that's restrictive. They think it's something that's locking up their assets. They think it's something that once they participate in, they can never get released from or recover from. That's one of the biggest misconceptions.
okay. I know I was under the kind of the impression that it was low returns and not a great way to invest your money because I mean you're not going to make much more than a savings account, but that's really kind of changed in the last 5 to 10 years with that indexed annuity, right?
Yeah, that's definitely changed. I've seen the indexed annuity rates and returns take a drastic turnaround over the past 15 years or so when it comes to just how annuities are structured now and then how they perform much better. There are annuities out there that will, of course, provide lifetime income benefits, structured payments. But there are also annuities out there that will give you those structured payments in addition to a significant growth potential that's incorporated in that annuity, long-term care rider benefits, flexibility when it comes to access to your money, and so many different things. So just as we have seen a development or growth and an evolution and so many other things in life, annuities have evolved too as well.
Got it. Okay. I mean, so there's several different kinds of annuities out there, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. You touched on the long-term care component. For that, you have to have a health license to do that because you have to take some long-term care training, right? Don't you have to have the health license to be able to execute that rider or to
You
add that
you do
rider?
have to. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, you do have to take the long-term care training. I don't know if the health license is necessary in every state, but I am health licensed. So when I took the long-term care training, who knows? It may have been that I was already meeting the qualifications. But I think that probably goes by state when it comes to the long-term care riders.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also health licensed, so I didn't see any hurdles with that. But I think when I was getting signed up for it or whatever, I think I saw something where there was a requirement for it to be health licensed. But that could be if you're only selling long-term care insurance as opposed to the rider. You know what I mean? So I'm
Correct.
not sure. Something to check into for an agent who's looking to get into this. So when you look at like the different types of annuities, you kind of touched on income annuities and accumulation annuities. Like the main types are like fixed annuities, fixed index annuities, MIGAs, which I thought MIGAs was just a brand or a product name at my last company until I saw it here. So multi-year
Right.
guaranteed annuity,
Sorry,
right?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Uh,
Could you repeat that?
I apologize.
No worries. We have a
Uh,
It's all good.
um, and then income annuities and variable annuities. Now, like with variable annuities, you have to have a securities license because you're essentially tying it to a mutual fund component, right? So you can't do those if you only have a life insurance license. But
that
how
that
about
is. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's correct. Florida, I think, is the only state where uh, a person can be life licensed and sell variable annuities.
oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, with the indexes, I don't know if you've seen the stats on from a securities perspective. If you have a broker who puts together a portfolio, there's only 4% that will ever beat the S&P 500 index. Just be, they're just not that good. So to me, variable annuities aren't even worth the effort because and you can lose money in those. So you're kind of back in that security space where you might lose some sleep if your client loses money, right?
Exactly. There are many institutions out there, many companies that really slam annuities, but they make statements like, before you buy an annuity, read this. Before you buy an annuity, watch this. Before you buy an annuity, download this. And they may take you through an hour's worth of education on annuities, but before that presentation is over, in whatever format it was, you'll come to find out that really they're talking about, don't buy a variable annuity
Mm-hmm.
because of the complexities, because of the fees associated with it, because of the risk of loss of downturn in a volatile market. The variable annuity, I think, has really contributed to just an overall negative connotation when it comes to annuities in general.
Yeah. Like some of my pretense was that annuities were a slow but safe investment, not much better than a savings account. Is that coming from like this traditional fixed annuity product that was so prominent for so many years? Is that really what that comes from? Low
I would,
returns?
yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I,
And
I would say so.
so the next one, like fixed index annuities, those are relatively new in the grand scheme of things, right? They've only been around for what, 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The fixed index annuity, of course, with just with the label that's put on it, fixed index annuity, it gives you a fixed component, but it also gives you versatility with an index opponent that's based on an external index, like the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Barclays, you name it. There's a variety of different indexes out there that a person can allocate some of those funds to, so that they can get, somewhat better returns, as opposed to it just being in a fixed bucket.
Okay.
If it's in a fixed bucket, it may only be associated with whatever the bond rate
Okay.
currently is, what the government can guarantee in treasuries. It could be 1%, 1.5% on a fixed rate, as opposed to the ability to hit anywhere up to 10%, hypothetically,
Okay.
in certain indexed annuities.
Okay. What about a MIGA? I mean, I think in my mind, the first thing I think about with a MIGA, which is a multi-year guaranteed annuity, it comes up as a better option than a CD. Is that kind of how you position that type of annuity?
Yeah, for sure. I have clients that have rolled over hundreds of thousands of dollars, with me, that I placed with various companies. And some of those same clients may have only rolled over tens of thousands in MIGAs, just for uh, the short term.
Okay.
They may have had 50, 60, $70,000 laying around and said, I don't want to put this into something that uh, is more so designated for the long term. I'm looking for a short term return on that. What do you got for me? And that's when I'll go to a MIGA, as you mentioned, multi-year guaranteed annuity. That multi-year guaranteed annuity could have a promise of, right now, I think it's somewhere around 5%
Okay.
on,
So if you're
on, on a 5-year return.
okay, so somebody who's maybe getting close to retirement but doesn't want to stop making money, but wants to make it a little safer. Is that maybe where you would put them, or would you look at more of a fixed index annuity, or does time horizon come into that play? Because MIGAs are shorter term typically, right?
Yeah, if it was short term, I would definitely recommend a MIGA. Uh, 3 years is the minimum that I've ever seen with any MIGA. It's usually 3, 5, and 7.
Okay.
I would probably stick somewhere in the 5 year range, depending on what their objective was.
Okay. So yeah, just like a CD then, really, but
Yeah,
better
yeah,
returns.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference, excuse me, between the MIGA and the CD, you don't get a toaster oven. That's and I'm dating myself, Corey, because
I do remember those days, though. Some of the young
exact,
guys won't, but
yeah, yeah,
it's you always get
exactly,
something for nothing. So how
yeah.
about like an income annuity? I mean, so you have I assume like a fixed index annuity and a fixed annuity, even a MIGA would be considered accumulation annuities, and then you have income annuities. But isn't there kind of an accumulation and then annuitization phase? Do you have to use the same annuity for both, or how would you,
Uh,
or
you
when would you recommend the different types? I guess fixed index
so
versus income.
yeah, so you can. There are some products that will be set for an accumulation phase, hypothetically. Let's just say for 10 years, and at the end of that 10 years, you can turn on the income rider, right? I remember back in the days that there were products that would give you 10% compounded interest, let's just say hypothetically over a 10-year period. That 10% compounding would go into an income bucket. And at the end of that 10 years, you could turn on that income bucket to pay you out lifetime, guaranteed lifetime income. But now, hypothetically, I have a client that transitioned to a new job. We just did a 10-year annuity for accumulation because he's relatively young in the full scheme of things. He's about 50. So this would work really well for him, just with that particular product. After 10 years, all he did was accumulate. So let's just use 400,000 as as a base number. Given the interest rates now currently, interest rates are relatively high. So for a product like that, a company A, may offer him a premium bonus on new money, and essentially new money is being a new participant, and a new a new client essentially.
Okay.
So that $400,000, let's just say they were giving him $10,000, or I'm sorry, 10% in a premium bonus. That's $40,000. So day one, he would have $440,000 as a base, and he may have the ability to accumulate assets every year after that, throughout the life of that contract, which for this scenario, we use 10%. So over that next 10-year period, if the market did well, say the stock market did 15%, and he had a 9% cap or ceiling, if the market did 15%, he would receive that 9%.
Okay. So the safety net's kind of built in, so it grows with the market and participates in most of the gains, but then there's downside protection, so there's no losses ever, right? Kind of a step up and then a plateau and a step up and a plateau.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
posted a graphic on Instagram last week, kind of the three different strategies. One being that kind of safe growth with the step up and plateau, and one being what the actual S&P 500 did over the last 20 years, the spikes and valleys, and then just basic savings account with 4% returns. And most of the people voted for the safe growth because after 20 years, it was, and I posed it like if you had an investment strategy to choose from, but you didn't know the outcome, which of these would you choose? And they were all like, yeah, step up and plateau, step up and plateau. And it turned out it didn't make as much money, but they slept at night, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty important.
Yeah.
Um, what are some rider options that agents should understand before they recommending to a client? Or I guess what are some riders that are available on annuities? Maybe it doesn't even come into recommendations yet.
Uh, of course, the income rider. Um, the income rider uh, can be a double-edged sword if the if the necessary work wasn't done in the beginning to really uncover the client's needs or assess what their timeline or their horizon look like. And and the reason I say that, I inherited clients hypothetically, with my partner at the time, in his book of business that were already there. They already existed. So I just inherited the care of whatever their needs were. Wasn't paid for anything, because in this annuity space, the agent is paid one time in the beginning.
Okay.
All right.
No residuals or anything like that, like life
Correct.
insurance. Okay.
Correct. Um, but what I found over time, some of these very same clients that were paying 1%, 95 basis points, which 95 basis points is 0.5% less than 1 full percent, over a span of 18 years. What does that come out to be? They've paid $20,000 for a rider that they never used.
The income
So
rider. Okay. That makes
yeah,
sense.
that income rider. So essentially, it really wasn't. It wasn't that he directed them into the wrong space. I guess he may not have really ascertained what their changing life circumstances.
Didn't annuities kind of start out as kind of that double-ended thing where you grow it and then you take income from it and all in one product? Isn't that how they kind of started? So I
Yeah,
mean, it makes sense that some of his clients did that, but now it sounds like it's maybe better to just accumulate and then maybe switch to a different product. Is that fair to say?
yeah. That's what I would recommend, depending on my client's needs.
Yeah.
I have clients that, they may be at a particular age. Hypothetically, let's just say they're 65, 67, 70 years old, and they have $700,000 liquid. Let's just say, between different types of accounts, whether it be in managed funds, that they can easily access, that may not be tied to qualified money or qualified funds. But they may be willing to put another five or $600,000 into an income or an indexed annuity that is going to give them a lifetime income. So, what that looks like, without giving any real numbers. These are hypothetical, of course, but say a client with $400,000 into an indexed annuity that's going to give them a lifetime guaranteed income, they may get close to $40,000 a year
Okay.
in income for the rest of their lives.
Off of a $400,000 bucket,
Yeah,
that's pretty good because if you
yeah,
live 20, if
yeah.
you live longer than 10
Even
years, you
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Even though it's a hypothetical number based on a hypothetical scenario,
right.
but just running these numbers all day, every day, which is what I do. I know right now, based on, I think even a client that you and I were talking about, that we were kind of working jointly on, for what was it, 413,000?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, I looked at a couple companies that were uh, able to give him $36,200 hypothetically, in guaranteed lifetime income, with a rider that would double his income for up to 5 years, and another company even double his income for more than that if he became ill. Something like a long-term care multiplier.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, long-term care insurance is expensive, but if it's built into your retirement plan, it's like easy. And unless you're really wealthy or really poor, you really need to have some kind of a long-term care plan in place. It fits right into what you're already doing for the customer and adds that extra value that they didn't even know they needed, and
Yeah,
definitely didn't think they could afford. But now it's built in, and they get more income because of it.
yeah,
That's the best of both worlds, right?
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think, um, I think one of the biggest tragedies that exist for baby boomers, and I'm laughing, Corey, because you're not a baby boomer.
I got told at lunchtime I was just a pup.
But in that baby boomer generation, that generation of individuals that were born between 1946 and 1964, I think one of the biggest tragedies when it comes to the financial industry is the get rich quick mentality. You know,
Yeah.
years ago, our parents, our parents' parents, they may have worked for General Electric, Ford, Verizon, AT&T, whatever the company was, and they worked for 30 years and they got a lifetime pension. They knew every month of every year for the rest of their lives, they were going to get this money and it was going to be in their checking account. And even if they died, they knew that their wife was going to be able to draw on that benefit also.
Hmm.
Some companies, the same level benefit. Most, though, the benefit may have been reduced somewhat, almost like Social Security.
Hmm.
But we've gotten away from that, and we've started to depend more on what Google has returned, or what Nvidia has returned, or what AI has returned, or
Yeah.
other different stock portfolios, and the companies that that back them, as opposed to locking in guarantees. I just don't think that uh, the economy is stable enough to risk retirement
Yeah.
assets.
Yeah. There are always the home run stories, but never the stories about slow, consistent growth that results in you being able to retire when you want to with the income you really desire or need,
Yeah,
because it's always at risk. Uh,
yeah.
what are some product mistakes that you see inexperienced agents make with annuities?
Um, just looking at uh, what product will give them the best bonus up front.
Okay. Oh, giving the agent the best bonus up front?
Both
Or oh,
the the,
okay.
the agent and the client, right?
Okay.
So let's just say, for full transparency, and I think you and I discussed this, there are annuities that may give an agent 4, 5, 6, 7% commission return versus whatever that base amount is. So in theory, what that looks like, a $300,000 401k hypothetically that a client has, and he wants to roll it over into another qualified plan, another IRA. And let's just say that client is paying, well, the client wouldn't pay anything because in this scenario, there's no fee associated with it. But the company is paying the agent 6% commission, right? So the 6% commission on that $300,000 is $18,000 that agent would get as a commission one time. And at the same time, the insurance company may be giving the client a 10% premium bonus, hypothetically, right? Yeah. So they're giving the client $30,000 to bring money over to their company for them to manage it over an extended period of time. So essentially, at this point, the insurance company has just paid out $28,000. They paid $18,000 to the agent in a commission. They paid, well, no, I'm sorry, $48,000, and they gave the client $30,000, right? Yeah. So the insurance companies, they're in the hole at this point for $48,000. The objective of the insurance company, the way they make money, they may invest that money into things that you and I can't invest in, sure. Right? So their returns are going to be much greater. But at the end of the day, they still have to protect their pocket. They still have to protect the initial investment. That's where chargebacks come into play. If a client doesn't stay in that product, that's where surrender charges are assessed for clients that come out of these contracts early. And it's not in every case, but many times agents and clients look at the insurance company as the bad guy, and they're really not the bad guy. They're giving you something for a lump sum of money. This money is guaranteed by the local state insurance guarantee association, so that a client doesn't lose their money because it guarantees annuities and insurance-based products. So the client never really loses. They may have hurt feelings hypothetically if their neighbor made 25% in the stock market last year and they didn't.
Yeah, they'll feel a lot better when they didn't lose money when their neighbor lost 18%.
Yeah.
Because that 18% can take 5 years to recover from. And you're 60, you want to retire at 65, you're going to take 5 years to get back where you just were? Or that's a real conversation that can be had.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some strategies to help? Because we talked about it a little bit last week, is instead of locking up a client's entire portfolio into an annuity, because it does kind of lock it up and there are surrender charges. But if they just push comes to shove and they just have to get that money because a life situation came up, you talked about leaving some of it aside for liquidity purposes. What would you recommend? And so if a client has $500,000 to invest, what would you recommend in terms of a typical split so they have some liquidity, but yet they're still growing their investment? What would you do there?
So let's just say a client has $500,000 and they don't have a pension with their company. That $500,000 in that 401k is life and breath and air and food. That's their existence, right? I wouldn't put it all into an annuity. I ascertain, their situation, I'd find out what their objectives are, not only presently, but in the immediate and long term future. I would look at things like, their property, what they owe on their mortgage. Do they have some type of continuing health benefits outside of Medicare, hypothetically? I would really look at their overall situation, of course, from a macro perspective, to be able to determine where we would assess that risk at. Because essentially, a good annuity agent is really a risk assessor. He's looking at the big picture, just to see, even when it comes to small things. I've gone to a client's home and sat there for 4 hours.
Yeah, just trying to know your client and understand what they
Yeah,
need and time
yeah.
horizons, things like that.
Just determining certain things. By the time I leave 4 or 5 hours later, and it's dark outside now, I know that they haven't replaced their roof in 18 years.
Yeah,
I know that based on the conversation that they may be looking to remodel this kitchen that has orange cabinets and an orange refrigerator. To bring it, into a more modern place. But whatever the situation is, getting back to that $500,000, I may say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Mitchell, based on what I've gathered from you today, I know you want to do X, Y, and Z. Why don't we put $200,000 to the side? Give you some liquidity, money that you can put your hands right on, for an emergency, for next couple vacations over the next couple years. Renovate your kitchen, your bathroom, whatever else you want to do. Let's take this $300,000, put it into an annuity that's going to give you a lifetime income, paying you X amount of dollars for it per year, or whatever the case may be. But I definitely wouldn't take the whole 500,000. I would recommend that they take at least 100, maybe 200, depending on what their objectives were, and put that aside to have liquid.
would you suggest like a money market account or an investment account, or is there another annuity type product that you would park it in, like like an IUL or a participating whole life policy or anything like that?
Yeah, it depends. It depends, what their goals are, what their objectives are. A money market IRA isn't a bad choice, even though I wouldn't recommend it, say hypothetically, for that whole 200,000, but maybe for 75 or 80,000, because a money market IRA isn't going to really give any kind of real return.
Yeah.
But it's still in an IRA, which they, of course, won't pay tax on it until they take a disbursement out. So if they took 40,000 out to, replace the roof and renovate the kitchen, they're only paying tax on that $40,000 when they take it out of that money market IRA. Who knows? Maybe, of course, not being securities licensed, I can't recommend an ETF or some other types of products. After they do their research and maybe meet with a securities, broker, and discuss, some relative safe options to still be able to generate decent returns on that other bucket of money, as long as they have certain guarantees and they're not invested aggressively, where they run the risk of losing money. Because, let's face it, once you retire, your ability to withstand and recoup your losses is slim to none. It's very hard.
Very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about earlier rolling from a 401k into an annuity. I was talking to another agent this morning, and he was under the impression that you have to have a securities license in order to roll that 401k into the annuity, but that's not accurate, right? Or is there some cases where you have to have that?
No, you don't have to have a securities license. And I know many agents think that, and they even have trepidation making a move in this space because they think that they have to have a Series 6, Series 7, 63, or whatever it is. And that's not the case. They don't have to. I do understand the fear and the uncertainty when it comes to the average agent not wanting to make a mistake with anyone's retirement, anyone's 401k, or whatever qualified or non-qualified plan they have. But that's why, if, of course, at our company, at Lasting Mark, we have the Elevate program, which allows an agent to work with someone that's a skilled professional in that space, in that spectrum, to be able to refer that case essentially, and you're elevating it to a different level to someone that has more qualifications to be able to manage, that case. As well, within our group, Empower Life Group, they can elevate or refer those cases to someone like me, and they could work with me in that space, since this is my expertise, and get the same benefits essentially.
Yeah, I love that because as someone I've sold some annuities in the past at my previous company, but not knowing a ton about them and kind of how they function, how they work, and what's best. I love the fact that I can partner with you, bring you the client. You essentially sell it, but I get to sit there and learn while I earn because we share commissions, and it's just a great way to move into this space without having to spend a ton of time and resources learning, because they're always changing. There's all these different companies have 8 different annuities, and you have to do training on all of them, and it's just too much. So working with somebody like yourself to do joint work is a great way to move into selling them. And you do enough joint work and you make the easy money, then you'll know how to do it yourself. So
Yeah,
I do love that. It brings me
yeah,
into the kind of the next topic, though, is most of the people we work with, you and I, Thal, are working final expense life insurance, whole life policies, senior citizens that maybe didn't do the best job of planning ahead, or maybe they did, but um, what are some things that they can look for to try to find a potential annuity case when they're talking? Because it's the same market in a lot of cases.
yeah.
What can they ask? What can they listen for in their conversations to find these types of prospects to bring to you and potentially cross sell or make some more money?
That's a good question. When uh, as you were asking me this question, a series of things started going through my head, and I think about the culture of Dana's team, of course, Empower Life Group. I think about the culture of Lasting Mark, the agency, and I think about the training that goes into these final expense agents, and I have to chuckle within myself because some of the final expense agents, they think that this is like a mountain they have to climb to get into that annuity space. But when I think about the culture and the training that exists, um, they are really positioning these final expense agents with the skills to be able to peel the skin off of that onion, to be able to determine through a series of questions, what that client's needs really are, not only, immediate, but in the long-term future. So I think a lot of the final expense agents are really further along than they really know when it comes to their ability to sell annuities. I think it's really just a matter of them getting with the right person,
Yeah.
someone that has the experience, that's been in the business, because honestly, there's nothing worse than an annuity client asking an agent, what's the participation rate? What does that mean? What is that? How does that how does that affect me?
Yeah.
And you just took $200,000 of their money and put it in some product just because the company is going to give you a 7% commission.
Yeah.
So you're just seeing $14,000, and but you may have put that client into a product that really wasn't going to do its due diligence in meeting all of his goals and expectations over the next 10 years, or possibly into a long-term retirement, because you really didn't know what you're doing. It's like, and I'm not saying you, but just,
Oh, it's
in
me.
general, no, no, but, it's almost like, I fish, this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I love fishing. If I were to come into some extreme wealth, hypothetically, in a short period of time, and I never have to work again a day in my life, I'm going to fish the world, right? But with that, going back to putting dangerous things inside the hands of
Hmm.
inexperience. There are hooks, fishing hooks, gamakatsu, right?
Yeah.
Very sharp, very sharp,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes I'm creating rigs. A rig is you take the fishing line and you tie it 3 or 4 different ways to put your lead weight on, to put your barrel swivel, to put your hooks on. And sometimes when I get finished making the rig, I'm looking at these little holes in my hand that are starting it's starting to bleed.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, so and I'm experienced, right?
Yeah.
So imagine me giving those hooks to the team and say, okay, team, we're going to make some rigs today. We're going to take these razor sharp gamakatsu hooks, and we're going to make some rigs, as opposed to just saying, okay, well, you know what? Today's lesson is going to be how to tie a knot.
There we go. Yeah.
The next lesson is going to be what kind of barrel swivel will I use? The next lesson is going to be what kind of lead sinker do we want to use for that particular space in the bottom of the ocean, whether it's more coral or more sandy, or whether we're fishing over a wreck, or whatever the case may be. So you really have to make sure that agent is really skilled and qualified to be able to sell that product, because you could really be doing someone a disservice.
Yeah. Well, like when our agents were talking to a final expense client, one there's a line in the script that says, it's kind of a consequence question. What happens if you don't get some coverage in place? Do you have a backup plan, a plan B, savings or retirement? And it's really, I think the line is designed to see if they have something, make them defend their position on why they want life insurance. If they don't have something, further enforce the decision that you need life insurance because there is nothing else. But another way you can use that I've seen and have used is if they say, yeah, they do have something, make a note and then make them double down on the position for life insurance. And then when you get to the end of the call and you've helped them, you say, earlier on you said you do have some retirement and savings. Has anyone ever talked to you about protecting that retirement? Or if I can ask, what's the value of that? And if they tell you it's $500,000, well, between now and when you retire, how much of that can you afford to lose when the market takes another downturn like it did after COVID, 2008, the dot-com bubble? I mean, there's countless stories of people losing their retirement at the time they're ready to retire. How much can you afford to lose before you think you've lost too much? Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't thought about it. Wouldn't it make sense to have a conversation with a retirement specialist who can make sure you can protect that money and keep it growing and generate a lifetime income for you? Would that help you? Oh yeah. Great. Let's set up a call and
Yeah.
then leave it. I think that's a
Yeah.
great way to find potential annuity prospects when we're with the people we're already talking to every single day, all day.
Yeah.
If we can get help with life insurance, we've earned some trust, and now we can help them with potentially this.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that you find annuity prospects? I looked at a lead source last night. It was pre-booked Zoom appointments, and they were $750 per lead.
Mm.
You know, but they screen them. They a minimum of $100,000 ready to invest, and they understand what an annuity is, and just they do some education and nurturing before that. But that's a lot of money for an educated lead to show up on a Zoom call like we are right now, and not knowing. But maybe there's some higher intent there. Is there a better ROI? But where else do you find annuity clients at?
So, just to comment briefly on what you mentioned, for $750 a lead, I'm going to change and go into the lead selling business.
Yeah. Yep. I've thought that many times. Like, I think the
Yeah,
money is the real money from
yeah.
lead.
But believe it or not, prior to COVID, I would put on a suit and tie, the wingtip shoes, with a mirror polish on them, where I could see myself
All right.
in
There
the
we go.
shoe, and I would go with whatever marketing materials I had. I would go to schools. I would go to regional educational, the school educational regional centers, where they're like the home office for that school district, hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
And I would speak to individuals there, just with reference to the individuals that were part of that school district, because I know they had a 403B.
Okay. Okay.
I would create a presence there. I would move around in those different spaces. I would go to the individual schools, maybe find out who's close to retirement, start to speak with these individuals. I would go to post offices and speak with the postmasters there and ask them what's a good time when I can come back, and maybe talk to a couple people that we're close to or considering retirement, because they have a thrift savings plan, otherwise a TSP. That thrift savings plan it's like a 401k, hypothetically, for a government employee, where it's allocated in certain funds that only a federal employee can participate in, the A fund, C fund, FCG fund, or whatever it is. Some, moderate, conservative, or aggressive, just like a 401k. Uh,
Used
I
to
would
do a
send
lot of
emails
hitting the
out.
pavement a lot.
Hmm.
So I used to be out in the field working the pavement, hitting the bricks pretty
Yeah,
hard just to find
yeah,
prospects.
yeah.
How's
COVID changed that. Uh, because at that point in time, people weren't moving around like they were. You couldn't get face to face with individuals. No one wanted, to invite someone into their home that they didn't know.
hmm
It wasn't because I didn't use deodorant, or
we put on the suit, you got to wear deodorant.
you got to. It's a prerequisite. You got to. Um, but I used to suit up and go out and pound the pavement. Sometimes I would leave the house. My wife would be at work. She's, oh, where you heading today? And by the time I gave her a breakdown, she said, wow, you're going to be tired. I might not get home till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Oh, you want me to leave dinner on the stove for you? Yeah, I'll eat when I get in. I might have been out 10, 12 hours.
yeah,
But you have to plant seeds if if you want a bountiful harvest.
yeah.
You
So how
got
is that? How did that change after COVID? Because now a lot of it's digital. Are you buying leads? Are you running your own ad campaigns? Or I think it's almost been a double-edged sword because even in life insurance, people don't realize that you a lot of people would make a lot of calls on Sunday, or they would they would call leads on like Saturday, get on a plane Sunday, fly to wherever they're going to work these leads, knock on doors and visit these leads Monday through Thursday, come back on Friday, do it all over again the next week. It was like door knocking and doing all kinds of manual networking and just the old school way of marketing yourself to find prospects. That's all changed. Like now it's the people who still do that, mad respect to them, but everything's now is digital. Click an ad, somebody's calling you 2 seconds later. How did it change for annuities after COVID?
uh it has changed a lot, of course. You don't have and I can't say, I was going to say you don't you don't have the same opportunity to do those things, but you do. But it's just that the the digital presence and the virtual presence have made things so much easier. It's brought the world into a much more condensed space. I'm licensed in just about every state in the country, so I can sell insurance to people in Nebraska. I can sell an annuity to someone in Wisconsin. I can sell final expense to someone in Connecticut. I can sell an IUL to someone in Nevada, Michigan. You name it. So it is better in that sense, but then that creates another problem, which is a trust
hmm
scenario, essentially, or lack thereof.
Yeah,
You know, to see someone in a virtual meeting like we are is good. Over a period of time, you get to know who they are, and you do develop some trust. I have one client that I inherited, from my partner in his book of business that I service, and she lives in New Jersey, in my state, and she insisted that we meet in person.
hmm yeah,
Older woman, and I appreciated that, and I did what I fell back on what my routine was. I put the suit on, I put the tie on, I polished the shoes, and I put on deodorant, of course, and we met, and just being a baby boomer, growing up in that generation where where my mother really instilled certain things in me when it came to respect for older individuals. I was always calling her Miss Johnson,
Hmm.
Miss Johnson, Miss Johnson. And she said, "Hey, unless you start calling me Betty, I'm not going to work with you anymore." And there was a psychology behind that. She knew that in order to really trust me, I had to establish a personal relationship with her.
Yeah.
And calling her by her first name, it really did that. And
Yeah.
when we meet now, we may sit in the bagel shop and talk about our families for an hour before I do an anniversary review with her for 10 minutes and then go.
Yeah.
But it's all about that trust. And you lose that somewhat of that trust in a virtual space like this, in a digital space. So I try to incorporate many things that will bring the person, the client, potential client, to a level of comfort, so that they can feel comfortable and be able to trust that I'm guiding them in the right path, and um, I'm not an AI image.
Yeah. How do you find other lead prospects? Do you run ads, or do you buy leads, or do you just try to find them through, because you kind of started from annuities. So in my mind, the cross sell is the annuity, but in your mind, that's the primary sale. So where do you find clients?
So, you know, being being a disciple, and she probably won't appreciate this word, but being a disciple of Dana, and just looking at her content prior to coming to Lasting Mark, I had made up in my mind that I was going to really take on final expense
Okay.
as one of the primary sources to build business. But to answer your question, and I'll come back to this, I don't really. I have run some ads. I have run some lead generation campaigns in Meta, LinkedIn, and IG, things of that nature. I've never bought direct purchase of leads like the source you spoke about earlier, $750.
Uh,
There are lead sources out there, that you can do that. I've been blessed and I've been fortunate enough to have managed the relationships that I have with warm markets, where some of them have referred business to me, and it has given me the ability to continue to work and continue to put money back into my business. Because I think you and I were talking about this before. It's it's more than just getting a client, writing an annuity, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I'll
mhm.
talk to you when we have the next policy review. It's really establishing a relationship with these individuals. I think I mentioned to you about a client that I have who's a doctor. He referred his son, who's a doctor. The the son, may refer other business to me with individuals that he works with. But it comes from really developing those relationships. But because we are in the age that we are in, I do see the need to market on social media platforms, maybe to do some lead generation, invest in content creation and branding. For me, I think the one of the directions that I feel is essential to go in is branding. For me to create a brand, develop a
Yeah.
brand. uh, that's unmistakable in this particular space when it comes to individuals, seeing that brand and say, "Hey, that's Thal Martin. I'm going to give him a call. I'm retiring soon."
Yeah. That's how do you have any plans for trying to do that at scale? Because we're like you said, you're licensed across the country in almost every state. Are you going to target certain areas for that, or are you looking to establish that brand presence across your footprint? Or because that becomes a pretty tall, that's a tall task. It's a lot of spend, a lot of ad spend, a lot of content. Not, it's just a big scale that I just haven't seen or experienced really, except for like the national brands, Nike and Google, and we all know the big ones. But like,
Right.
how does a person, life insurance agent, annuity agent, create that kind of presence at scale? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's really necessary, of course, to become comfortable with social media. Really,
Yeah.
you have to become comfortable with social media. I've put some content on LinkedIn under the company name, which is Insurance Money Moves. You may have seen the the logo. It's a logo. It shows two chess pieces, and on one of the chess pieces, um, it has I think Ben Franklin's face.
Okay.
And for those out there in the podcast world, it's already copyrighted, so don't think about it. But
All right. There we go.
but really, it's the intent of it is strategic moves for life's
Okay.
uncertainties. As a matter of fact, this is one of my patches.
Playing chess. You see the chess set behind you.
Yeah, yeah. The
Oh, that's,
chest.
oh, okay.
You
Oh,
see
that's a
that?
patch.
This is a patch
Okay.
that goes on clothing.
All right.
So I have hats, I have merch,
There we go.
you know. but I think and on LinkedIn and some of the other social media platforms, I get on at one point in time, and I have something that's called Rhyme of the Times.
Okay.
So I essentially have poems,
All right.
poetry, rhymes that relate to uh, some things that are taking place in the economy today, how it relates to baby boomers, how it relates to um, unemployment as it pertains to those in the baby boomer generation getting laid off and not being able to find employment, or how inflation is affecting us and the things we need to do to secure certain things in place so that we can hedge against inflation. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we can use different annuities for these types of things and so forth. But, we have to start thinking out of the box to be versatile. And I think we have to embrace social media as a tool to do that, and as well as content creation. I think what you do with this podcast, I mean, it's reflective of what I'm talking about. Stepping outside of that comfort zone to be able to provide these different venues to be able to highlight certain things in inside your market or your particular sphere.
Yeah. It's really a great way to generate content. So like, I'll get you access to all the clips we make for social media, because the conversation we're having today is very applicable. And maybe, I don't know if it would help you with recruiting or with selling, but I mean, I'm happy to share those with you if you want as well. But we're coming up on like an hour and 15 minutes into this, and
That's
we're
okay.
like, there's just a fraction of the way. Like, we had all these questions just to make sure we had content, but we might have to have you back on to talk about those other sections because this has been phenomenal. Um,
Yeah, it really has been, Corey. I thought I would be um, anxious, nervous, kind of like, oh, what is he going to ask me? Is it,
put you on the
but
hot seat, right?
yeah, yeah. But really, it boils down to uh, when I hear people like Dana, when I hear people like Roger, when I hear people like Brian, Askins, when I hear people like Dallas and what's his name?
Chris? Chris?
Chris. Yeah, Chris, and even more, other people, Zach and Pat and Jay Karate and people like them. When they start to speak, you can get caught up
Yeah.
in the conversation, because when you truly believe what you're talking about, it comes easy.
Yeah, it really does. And
It comes easy when you believe and when you know it to be factual, and the foundations that support it. Just like getting on the calls with Dana. I mean, she's running this stuff off, and it's
yeah,
it's 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 not just a second language. It's probably most times a first language.
yeah, it's definitely built into her DNA. She's very
Yeah,
good at
yeah,
communicating the points and teaching the things and breaking it down very simply.
yeah.
We're very blessed to be where we're at in terms of
Oh, please. Oh, for sure.
mentorship and
In that
yeah,
team, yeah, yeah. And I have to apologize, Corey, to you and to the viewers that will, maybe view this soon. I can when I talk about something I love, man, don't get me started, man.
yeah, we definitely will have to have you back on again. What I really wanted this one to be about though is cover some of the basics of annuities and then kind of give a framework or a pathway that agents who they're not even thinking about annuities, they're doing all final expense,
Yeah,
but how they could maybe tap into this a little bit by just asking a few questions, making some notes, and then trying to set an appointment with you
yeah,
and learning about how to do annuities by watching you sell them and sharing the commission. It's a
yeah.
great way to add another stream of income
Hmm.
without doing really much more. It's,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And that you mentioned that cross-selling sheet, which in itself is an excellent resource, to be able to do that. And you laid it out perfectly, hypothetically, after the sale or while you're waiting for the final approval to come through or whatever the case is. And you say, hey, Miss Johnson, I remember you mentioned something about retiring soon. How does that look for you when you retire? What are your plans for retirement? The economy is a scary place right now, and we have to make sure that we are strategic in what we do. We have to create safety nets for ourselves. As part of me working with you today, part of that community here at Lasting Mark or Empower Life Group, you're entitled to a free retirement assessment just to see where you are and maybe help guide you along in the future. When would you like me to schedule that for you?
I love that. Yeah.
Simple, simple as that. You
Uh,
know, uh, Miss Johnson may not have two coins to rub together, or she may have 500,000 coins to
and
rub.
doesn't know what to do with them because they're just
Yeah,
sitting there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's really to do what's best for the client and go from there. But I really appreciate spending this time with you, Corey. You got to have me back on again because I know there are questions. I think I noticed in something that you sent me. There was like a fast round of
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's just kind of fun to rapid fire. I mean, we could do that in 10 minutes.
rapid fire.
We can finish off with a rapid fire if you want.
That's fine.
All right.
That's
All
fine.
right. Who's your favorite annuity carrier?
Um, the one that gives uh, the best product for the client at hand. It would be really unjust for me to say one particular company, because there are so many different scenarios and circumstances that each individual faces. So I just have to say the one that's best for Corey at that time.
A great answer. What's the most underrated annuity product?
That MIGA that we talked about, that multi-year guaranteed annuity. Um, Short money, you know, over a small window, 3, 5, 7 years,
Yeah.
dropping 50, $100,000 into, with guaranteed compounding interest at 3.75 or 5.25 over 5 years. It beats a bank every day, and a CD.
Yeah. And the money's going to be there when you want to buy a house in the next 5 years, or when you want to send the kids to college in the next 5 years. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. What's the most overrated retirement strategy?
Most overrated, when I think about it, over um, the past 10, 15 years, and I don't hear a lot about it now, laddering.
Laddering. What do you mean by that?
Laddering. Yeah, like climbing up a ladder, and laddering annuities
Oh,
to do different things at different points in times.
got it.
And you know, I think with a lot of the tools that we have in place now, you don't really need to do that the same way. So I think that that strategy is starting it has become overrated, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Especially with the things we've talked about today, you can exchange and switch as the next need comes. So,
Yeah,
what- what's the biggest annuity myth?
that I have an annuity and I need cash now.
We
I
gotta
think
put you on
that
auto tune here.
yeah, I think the biggest myth is that once you put your money into an annuity, it's gone. You can never touch it again. It doesn't make money. You're going to lose money. I have clients that have went through the um, the stage of the contract years, hypothetically 10 years, and at year 10, I say, hey, what are we going to do with this money? Let's put it into something that will give you a guarantee, hypothetically, of 10, 12, 14% on new money day one, totally different company, and give you a long-term care rider, hypothetically. Oh, I don't want to lock it up for another 7 years or 10 years, but they'll let it sit with the old company and generate nothing for the
Yeah.
next 7 years or
Yeah.
10 years. And I really try to explain to people, we could get 7 years into a 10-year contract. The surrender charge may only be 3%. We may have a competing product with a different company that may be offering 13%.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Right.
We have different strategies and different products with different companies to really help the client at whatever stage they're in that annuity space.
Got it. Um, what's the best piece of advice for a new annuity agent?
Have a mentor. Have a mentor. Um, don't, just because you with your insurance license, legally you can sell an annuity. Um, don't don't just go out and take it upon yourself to put someone in a product that really isn't going to be the best benefit for them, just because it may give you a decent, commission. Take time, learn the business, learn the products. Partner with someone like myself, or other leaders at Lasting Mart, just to get a better idea of how these products work, what they do. And if you can't, as an agent, as a new agent, if you can't just open up any page of a contract and be able to explain something on that page, in that contract, in this particular space that they're in, then don't sell it.
Yeah,
Learn
that's
about
great.
it. Learn about it first.
You're putting people's retirements and their livelihoods in retirement at risk by not doing that for your clients. So you kind of owe it to them to
You
know
you
it.
do. Yeah.
Got it. Well, one last question for you, Thal. If people want to buy a policy or an annuity from you, or if they want to work with you, how can they find you?
How would you say?
If they want to buy a policy or annuity from you or work with you, how can they find you?
Uh, they can go to my website, www.insurancemoneymoves.com. They can call me direct at 973-417-6043. And on that website, they'll have a direct link to message me, or they can go on to LinkedIn under Thal Martin, type my name in, and they'll see me in LinkedIn, and they can message me through Calendly as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that was, we're going to have you back on. That was incredible. And we didn't even crack the shell on this. So this was great.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
we'll,
enjoyed it.
we'll stop here to give our listeners a breath to take a break, and they'll have to listen to part two. So, thanks
Okay.
for listening to the Dialing for Dollars podcast. If you enjoyed the show, like, subscribe, and share it with another agent who's still calling leads at 8 p.m. Have a good one.
Thanks, Corey. Take care.